What's up, everybody? Welcome to another recap of the 2022 NFL season. We finally made it. Week 18. After 18 long weeks, back and forth season, made it to the end of the season. A lot of, it was a long season. A lot of teams, it didn't go the way that they wanted to. Some teams are rejoicing, some teams are crying, but a lot of good happened this season. I think it was a very exciting season in football, and we'll get into week 18 here and show you what we got for the playoffs. Playoffs. That's right. See what the matchups are coming up. First, week 18. We'll get into it. We start with the two Saturday games. First, we had the Chiefs and the Raiders. Chiefs playing for the number one seed in the AFC, and they took care of business. I mean, this wasn't really a contest, and it was not much of a contest, so much so that they decided to play Ring Around the Rosie, the Chiefs, that is, and scored a touchdown on it. I mean, they were just like, well, whatever, we're in the playoffs, fuck it at this point, and why not? It worked, and congrats to the Chiefs. They are the number one seed in the AFC. They get the bye next week, and we will see what happens with them. Patrick Mahomes, the likely NFL MVP this year, getting his second. Good for him. For the Raiders, on the other hand, looks like Derek Carr will probably be making his way out of town. Could that mean Devontae Adams too? He came to the Raiders because Carr was there. They were teammates in college. Who knows? Decent, no, not decent. Subpar season for Josh McDaniels in his first year, and we'll see what happens with year two. Maybe Jimmy G. Jimmy G makes his way back with McDaniels. Tom Brady. I don't know. A lot can happen, but the Raiders, they're done. They got a lot to think about. Chiefs, though, they will be moving on to the playoffs. We'll see them in 2 weeks. Chiefs get the victory over the Raiders, 31-13. Next, we go to the Jags and the Titans. Battle for the AFC South title. And this one was a lot closer than I expected. I expected the Jags to not necessarily blow them out, but have some distance considering Josh Dobbs only making his second start. It came down to the end. There was a big defensive play, a scoop and score by the Jacksonville defense, and the Jags. I gotta hand it to them. You had the number one overall pick in the draft last year, and now you're the AFC South champs, and you're the 4th seed in the playoffs. I mean, credit to Doug Peterson, the work that he's done. He saves franchises. Yeah, it's a tough AFC. I don't think the Jags are going to the Super Bowl, but you can build on this, and this is exciting for the Jags. Excited for Duval County. They'll get a home playoff game next week. As far as the Titans go, tough way to end the season. They lost their last 7 games. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill was out. Derrick Henry didn't play as well as he needed to be. Titans, they just need playmakers. They need playmakers on offense. Probably need a better quarterback. Malik Willis looks like he's not the answer, which kind of sucks because he wasted a draft pick on him. But Titans got to figure out a quarterback, draft some receivers, and I mean, could we see a swing? Could we see a swing in the South with the Jags starting to take it over? We all know where the Texans and Colts are at. I mean, I don't see why this division can't be the Jags taken for the next couple of years. We'll see them next week as they host a playoff game. Jags get the victory. They win the AFC South. Victory over the Titans, 20-16. Next, we go to Sunday's games. We start first with the Patriots and the Bills. You almost knew that, not really an act of God, but you knew something special was going to happen. They're playing motivated for DeMar Hamlin, the Bills, and Keem Hine takes the opening kickoff back 96 yards for a TD, and you just had a feeling the Bills weren't going to lose this game, and they didn't. And the Keem Hine said, you know what, I'm going to take another one back, and he did, 101 yarder. And as much as the Patriots, Mac looked pretty good, I was happy they lost this game. I did not want them to make the playoffs because the Bills are now the number 2 seed. So if the Patriots had won that game, they were going to have to go to Buffalo again. And we all know what happened last year. They got blown out by 30 points. Didn't want that to happen. So Patriots season ends. They got a lot of questions. Hire an offensive coordinator, please. That's like the top priority. Bill Belichick, do something. You probably need to actually get a number one receiver. Maybe see, like, I would draft number one receiver, and if there is one in the draft for us at pick 14, but that's what it comes down to. Defense did his thing. Probably need to sign a couple players, but defense will always be there. We just need to get the offense better. Bills, they're the number 2 seed in the AFC. They get a playoff game next week hosting that, and they're my Super Bowl team. I picked them before the season. I think they're going to make a run. See if they prove me right. Bills over the Patriots 35-23. Next we go to the Jets and the Dolphins. With the Patriots loss, all the Dolphins needed to do was win, and they did, although it was extremely ugly. Starting third string quarterback Skylar Thompson and Jets starting third string quarterback Joe Flacco. I mean, this was like a Pop Warner game. I mean, field goals all around. No one can get any leeway. I mean, the offenses were terrible. Good for the defense was playing well. Dolphins got a late field goal to take the lead. Added a safety at the end of the game for insurance. But kudos to the Dolphins. They claimed the last wild card spot in the AFC playoffs. They now get the pleasure of going to Buffalo and getting demolished. Obviously, of course, it would be a close game if Tua plays. Hasn't cleared concussion protocol. So we'll see what happens. If Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson starts this game, it's over. The game's going to be over by halftime. So you can almost lock in the Bills for the divisional round. Dolphins, see what happens. But congrats, you made the playoffs. Mike McDaniel, first season. Good for you guys. Jets, on the other hand, Zach Wilson has got to take a break from football. Just leave the country. Go somewhere where there's no MILFs for you to be around. Just reset, read some books, and we'll see you in August. Dolphins over the Jets 11-6. Next we have the Bucks and the Falcons. This game didn't really mean much, although the Bucks did play Tom Brady up until almost halftime, maybe even past. But Falcons, good for Desmond Ridder. Threw a couple TD passes, looked good on offense. Falcons close out the season with a victory. Bucks going into the playoffs as the 4 seed. NFC South champs with a losing record. Never fun, but I mean, it's Brady. When Brady gets to the playoffs, you know what he can do. You can never count him out. We'll see what happens for them. Good for Falcons getting the victory then in the season. They win over the Bucks 30-17. Next we go to the Vikings and the Bears. Vikings needing to win to hope to get the number 2 overall seed. They did get the victory over the Bears as they were starting. I don't even know who the Bears were playing at quarterback, to be honest, but it didn't look good. It wasn't Justin Fields, that's for sure. Vikings did what they needed to do. They got the win. Bears loss sets up, hopefully, number 1 overall pick. We'll go to the next game, but Vikings over the Bears 29-13. Like I'm saying, all the Texans needed to do, we go to Texans-Colts. All the Texans needed to do was lose, and they get the number 1 overall pick. But Lovie Smith said, you know what, guys, let's go out and play. What did that cost you? It cost you your job. It cost you the number 1 overall pick. Congrats to the Bears. They now get the number 1 overall pick. And I get it. The Bears, they don't need a quarterback. Everyone's saying, okay, Bryce Young will go to Houston. Bears will probably pick Jalen Carter or the Anderson guy from Alabama. But what if the Bears said, maybe we want Bryce Young or something? I don't know. A lot can happen. Or maybe a team now trades up to number 1 overall pick. You never know with these things. But, I mean, Texans, they played tough. It was 31-24. Davis Mills, 4th and 20, finds this guy for a TD. They go for 2, and they get the victory. Like I said, cost them number one overall pick. Smith was fired yesterday, so what good did it really do? Not much. But I guess, hey, you beat the Colts, beat your division rival. Colts, on the other hand, they need a quarterback. I would look for them to draft C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State. The whole veteran thing, veteran quarterback trading for guys, it's got to stop. Just get a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, build around them for the next 3 years, and see where this team can go. Texans hopefully will get Bryce Young, but not number one. What are you doing, Texans? They get the victory though over the Colts, 32-31. Bengals and Ravens. Bengals trying to avoid this whole coin flip dilemma. The Ravens had won, but Ravens were playing third string quarterback Anthony Brown, and Bengals took care of business. These teams will meet each other in the playoffs again. Bengals are the 3 seed, Ravens are the 6 seed. So we will see them this weekend against each other, and hopefully Lamar can play. This is another one that comes down to similar to Miami. If Lamar does not play, this game is over. You can basically lock in the Bengals for a victory. Lamar's got to play to make it interesting. We'll see what happens. Bengals over the Ravens, 27-16. Next we go to the Saints and the Panthers. Two teams with nothing really to play for. Panthers, they get a nice victory. The biggest thing for both teams, who's the quarterback, who's the coach? Obviously, Panthers need a coach. They had interim Steve Wilks. He did an okay job. Let's see if he gets retained as full-time. I don't know. Does Dennis Allen stay with the Saints? I think management gives him another year. But who's the quarterback for the Saints? Andy Dalton. A lot of cap casualties for the Saints. We'll see how they work that out in the offseason. Panthers over the Saints, 10-7. Next we go to the Steelers and the Browns. Steelers need to win to keep their playoff hopes alive, but with the Patriots losing and the Dolphins winning, Steelers were eliminated from playoff contention. But doesn't mean they can't go out and get a win, and get a win they did. And with that win, ever since Mike Tomlin has taken over, I believe it was 2007, 16 seasons, they have not had a losing record, which is pretty impressive. And you only got one Super Bowl to show for it, but that's a discussion for another time. But 16 seasons, no losing record. That's pretty impressive. Mike Tomlin is a very well-respected coach, gets the most out of his players, and I thought this was a lost season. I mean, I didn't think they'd be in playoff contention the final week, but what do I know? Steelers, they were able to get the victory. The Browns, on the other hand, they're just looking towards next season. Deshaun Watson had some so-so games since coming back, but he's got to get his mind right for a full 17-game season next year, and we'll see if they can be in contention for a division title. Maybe all 4 teams have a chance. Who knows? Steelers, they get the victory over the Browns to finish at 9-8, 28-14. So we go to the Chargers, the Broncos. Chargers are already locked into the 5th seed now with virtue of the Ravens' loss. So they didn't really have much to play for, but they played their starters. I think this game was more about the Broncos. Russ playing like he should have been playing all season long. He had himself 3 TDs. He was cooking. This is what they needed. This is what Bronco fans wanted to see the whole season, but unfortunately, we all know what they got. A 5-12 record. Seattle gets their first-round pick. Yikes. And they're looking for a new coach. So, should be a great offseason for them. We'll see who they get to coach. Maybe Sean Payton. But I don't know if people are saying he doesn't want to try to revitalize Russ, deal with that. I don't blame him. I don't blame coaches. Go to a sexy attraction. I don't think Denver's the sexiest right now, but they end the season with a victory over the Chargers. Chargers, will see them next week in the playoffs. Broncos over Chargers, 31-28. Next we go to the Giants and the Eagles. Eagles needing a win to lock up the number 1 seed as well as the NFC East title. And they did just that. They were playing against second and third stringers for the Giants, who were resting their players as they're locked into the sixth seed for the NFC. Hurts, he didn't have a great game, but he just did enough, and he earned himself some rest. They got that much needed bye for them, and as long as Hurts is right, dangerous team to come into playoff time. So we'll see how he looks. We'll see them in 2 weeks. We'll see the Giants next week in the wild card round. Eagles get the victory, wrap up number 1 seed, NFC's title, 22-16 over the Giants. Next we go to the Cardinals and the 49ers. 49ers needing a win to lock up the number 2 seed in the NFC, and that is exactly what they did. Playing against the third string quarterback for the Cardinals. This was a cakewalk. Brock Purdy did his thing, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. I mean, this team is the scariest team going into the playoffs. They've won 10 straight games. Like I said, they're on Purdy, who's their third stringer. He's looking like freaking Tom Brady out there. But Kyle Shanahan's offense, you just need to be average quarterback, and that's what Purdy is. We'll see them next week for the playoffs, but I think Purdy can lead them to a Super Bowl. It can happen. NFC's not that elite this year, so we'll see. As for the Cardinals, they fired Cliff Kingsbury, which I saw was coming. GM Steve Keim, he's took a step down, so they're looking for a GM and a coach. Arizona's kind of a project. You got to deal with Kyler Murray. He has those little outbursts. He just wants to play video games, play Rocket League, Overwatch, whatever games he's playing these days. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Cardinals, but they don't matter in this instance. The 49ers, dangerous team going to the playoffs. They get the victory over the Cardinals, 38-13. Next we go to the Rams and the Seahawks. Seahawks needing a win to stay in playoff contention. They didn't look so good early on. The Rams were leading. You thought maybe the Rams were going to pull off an upset, but luckily, Geno Smith and company, calmed the ship down, and were able to tie this game up at the end, and just made enough plays in overtime to win the game, stay at playoff contention. Seahawks over the Rams 19-16 in overtime. Next we go to the Cowboys and the Commanders. The Eagles getting the victory. We knew the Cowboys were going to get locked into the fifth seed, but still, wanted to gain some momentum going into the playoffs, and they got the exact opposite of that. Losing to a third-string quarterback, Sam Howell, for the Commanders, not looking good. Dak throwing a pick six. Not the kind of momentum you want to have going into the playoffs. So they need to right the ship. They got to go on the road for their first playoff game. I don't know. I mean, I think the tradition is just going to continue. Cowboys lose in the first round of the playoffs, as they always do. It just doesn't feel like an elite team, unfortunately. Commanders, they get the victory over the Cowboys, 26-6. Finally, we go to Sunday Night Football between the Lions and the Packers. With the Seahawks victory over the Rams earlier in the day, the Lions can only play spoiler. If they beat the Packers, Seahawks were in. If the Packers beat the Lions, Seahawks were in. And I think Seattle should be sending the Lions a lot of just straight cash. Just straight cash, as the Lions did play spoiler. Bested Aaron Rodgers at home, Lambeau, Week 18. And just by, his reaction after the game, his press conference, could this be it for Aaron Rodgers? Could he just be tired and just say, hey, I've been losing, big games the last 3 years, and it's just not enough to come back? I don't know. I mean, we got to wait and see. He's going to take a little bit of time. He's not going to waste too much time. But, I mean, the Lions, man, they finished at 9-8. They just gotten one more victory. They probably would have been in the playoffs. But this is something you can build on. And I'm excited to see what the Lions do next year. They get themselves a top 5 pick. They have the Rams pick due to the Matthew Stafford trade. So I think they stick with Goff. I think they get themselves a really good defensive player. Maybe another edge on the other side of pair with Aiden Hutchinson, maybe a good cornerback. We'll see. But I think Rodgers, I think he'll be back at least one more year, but you never know. Lions, they get the victory on Sunday Night Football over Packers, thus sending the Seahawks into the playoffs. Lions over Packers 20-16. That does it for week 18, folks. Like I said, we're going to start the playoffs. Don't worry, I'll have videos of all the rounds, wild card, division, championship round, as well as Super Bowl. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the playoffs. Let's get into the matchups real quick. AFC side, Chiefs, number 1 overall seed. They get the bye. With the schedule, we have the LA Chargers going to Jacksonville. That is the Saturday night 8:15 game. And then on Sunday, we have Miami going to Buffalo, which without Tua, that's going to be a blowout. That's a 1 o'clock game. Ravens at Bengals, Sunday Night Football, same thing. Lamar doesn't play, game's over. You can pretty much pencil in the Bengals for the next round. The NFC side, Eagles, number 1 overall seed. Seattle goes to San Francisco Saturday at 4:30. Giants go to Minnesota at 4:30. And then Dallas goes to Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football. Early reactions or early predictions, that is, for these games. San Francisco takes care of business. That's easy. I got the Chargers over Jacksonville. I know Duval County is going to be excited, but I just think the Chargers can be a little bit more explosive than Jacksonville. I think the Chargers take the victory. Buffalo, I think it's going to be, if Tua plays, it's going to be a lot closer, but I still think Buffalo wins no matter what. Giants and Minnesota, I kind of like a little sneaky upset pick here. Giants, they played them close on Christmas Eve. I think they can sneak out a victory here. They know they can play them close. The game was in Minnesota before. So I'm going to go upset here. I'm going to pick the Giants over Minnesota. Ravens and Bengals, I think the Bengals got that. It's going to be closer if Lamar plays, but I still think the Bengals at home in their environment, they take the victory. And Dallas and Tampa Bay, as much as Tampa Bay, topsy-turvy this year, they're at home. It's Brady. I can't go against Brady. Sorry, Cowboys fans. Tampa Bay will take the victory on that. Super Bowl pick for me, I got the Bills and Eagles in Super Bowl 57, with the Bills taking home the Super Bowl championship. And finally, Bills country there will hopefully get to celebrate a Super Bowl. Like I said, that's it for Week 18. Looking forward to the playoffs. And I'll be right back here next week with a recap of the wild card games. See y'all next week.